Cheer Chats Pod.
Hi, guys. Welcome back to the Cheer Chats podcast. I'm Caitlin.
And I'm Gianna. And today we're doing a Cheersport Recap episode. So, a lot of things, before we even get into it, a lot of things have happened since the last time we've talked to you guys. The main thing being that Caitlin's currently a cheerleader now, again. So,
Yeah.
So,
It didn't
I
really last
guess we'll start with that. How was your cheer sport? How was it for you?
It was so good. It was very, very rewarding in a lot of ways. This team has changed a lot over the past few months. We performed a completely new routine that the audience hadn't seen before. And so we decided after JamFest to pretty much almost scrap the entire routine. And it was for the better of the team, absolutely. And got a brand new routine, started hitting it. Oh.
And that's how we feel about
Oopsie.
that.
Yep, that is exactly how I feel. And went out and competed 2 great routines. We hit day 2, and that was so, so rewarding. And then came out with a paid vid at Cheersport, which is amazing. So it was a very, very rewarding weekend, and I am so, so proud of Lady Lux. This team has grown immensely just since I've been on the team in the start of December. So yeah, I'm so proud.
Yeah, I well, obviously 8, by the way. Looks so good.
Thank you.
I think that's also like I feel like a new theme this year or not this year, but for the last couple years for Lady Lux is like redoing the entire routine in January. Seems like it's been a theme
Yeah,
in the last couple of
yeah.
seasons, but obviously it's paying off. But also happy birthday, Becca. It was Becca's birthday.
Happy birthday, Becca. We
Happy
hit day
birthday,
2 for
Becca.
Becca. My queen. My
Yes.
queen. We all had NaNoWriMo made like little pins with Becca's face on it and it said birthday baddie. So we definitely hit and got a bid for Becca.
Yeah. We love Becca. Another thing to acknowledge about Cheersport for Lady Lux was that I feel like it goes understated how difficult it is to get a paid bid at that, at a competition like Cheersport. I mean, like even
Yes.
as early as like a couple years ago, Code Black getting paid at Jamfest was like had everyone looking because obviously worlds or non-tumble teams aren't scored the same way as tumbling teams,
Yes.
different score sheets, the whole thing. So it is a big feat, especially redoing your entire routine in like a week and then a week later hitting day 2 and then getting a paid bid. Did want to put that
Yes.
out there too
Yeah.
because it's not for the weak getting a bid at Cheersport.
Yes. If you don't know about a non-tumbling score sheet, every driver that you lost is multiplied times 3. So if you get a 1.7 in a category, you automatically get that's
Yeah.
automatically 0.9 off your score sheet. And so every driver getting multiplied by 3 is very, very hard to get a high score in a non-tumbling routine. And so on day 2, we scored a 97.6, and that was literally a high. I was jumping and screaming everywhere once we got our score. I was so, so excited. And again, have had that routine for 3 weeks, and scoring that is an amazing, amazing feat for my team or any non-tumbling team.
Yeah. So big shout out to Lady Lux. I also wanted to talk about I have my notes in front of me, guys. If you see me looking down, you're already used to it by now. I did want to shout out all the winners of Cheersport. Congratulations, not just Lady Lux. Any division, any team. Cheersport's notorious for having like an AB of every single division that there is known to man.
Yes.
So we can't get into all of them, but I do want to shout out the World's teams who won this weekend. And at the same time, I do want to shout out Cheer Theory because I use Cheer Theory for
Always.
everything. I use
Always.
literally everything. And they do follow us on Instagram, so there's that. Right? Like,
Thank you, Cheer Theory.
I love Cheer Theory. They're like, I thought they were like USASF affiliated or like varsity affiliated for the longest time because they were just so like on top of it. But
yeah,
shout out to them. Also shout out to @Fever Rising on Twitter. They posted like almost every Worlds team to their account, like the full 2.5 minutes, so I could go back and rewatch. Yeah. So
OMG.
this whole episode literally would not be possible without them. So, but
Thanks, Queens.
yeah, for real. Shout out to Cheer Express Miss Silver, Infinity All Stars Royals, Rain Athletics Aqua, Max Senior Stars. Also, Max Senior Stars' first ever Cheersport win for them. So shout out.
Oh wow. And didn't they get grand? Or am I crazy?
No, I think they did.
I think they got the highest world score.
I believe they did.
Okay.
We have to ask Cheer Theory.
BRB checking cheer theory.
No, literally. East Celebrity Elite Black Diamonds. They were extra small. Shout out. Yeah. If you guys don't know, they were they broke I don't even know how many years it is. 4 years for South Coast Cheer Fearless.
4 year of major competitions. I think Vixens beat them 2 years ago, last year at like a random comp. But I think this was like the first major competition.
Yeah. I mean, like,
which is huge.
Back to back world champions. That's gotta feel good to beat them.
Congratulations to Black Diamonds. Congratulations.
And they're good. Like, it's not like
yes,
they just won because of mess ups. Like, they're genuinely good.
Yeah. Also, Senior Stars did get grand, so congrats.
Oh, did you actually check that?
Yeah.
Period. Thanks, Cheer Theory. California All Stars Mesa Exodus, also first time Cheersport winner for that team.
Yes.
Shout out to them. Woodlands Elite Generals. I did think it was weird that SSX wasn't there, but
none of Raleigh was there.
I know, and I guess if you're going to Palm Springs, like, why would you also pay to go to Atlanta? But Atlanta's just such a. I think if Code Black went, they would have triple crowned. Brandon Senior Black, obviously, congratulations. I do want to highlight for that division, 1st to 5th place were separated by less than half of a point, I believe.
Yes.
Insane. So shout out to that entire division.
Insane.
Stingray All-Stars Peach, I think you'll hear me talk about them later, but they were probably my favorite performance of the weekend. And I'm not even a medium senior girly like that. But
oh, really?
Yeah, I just don't. It's not. I don't know. I feel like with large senior and large co-ed, I get caught up.
I understand.
And I'm an LJ girl anyway. But Peach, shout out Peach. Top Gun Revelation, again, I feel like the medium division showed up and showed out this weekend. Early prediction for Worlds, I think Revelation could get grand this year. That's just me.
We'll get into that later. But
we will.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. They just, yeah. Obviously, large senior, Cheer Extreme Senior Elite, Top Gun TGLC. That is like the most perfect wins of those divisions for me because TGLC Stand Till I Die and obviously Senior Elite. Hello. Spirit of Texas Rain. Congratulations. Top Gun 00. That was a controversial division, but
a stacked division at that. Like, truly a stacked division. So kudos to all. Kudos to all.
That's what we'll say on that. We did talk about a couple episodes about who, like, that division was going to be so good, like, this season. We predicted it.
It is insane. But, like, V3, insane.
Yeah. Worlds should be interesting. And then the last few, we have Woodlands Elite GI Janes, Top Gun Angels for U18 non-tumble co-ed. I didn't watch them, to be honest, but, like, co-ed should have won. Anyway. That's all I'll say on that. You can't blame me for having bias if I, like, went to that, you know what I mean? I don't care.
No, I'm a coax stand till I die. like genuinely a coax stand till I die.
I mean, I'm sure Top Gun Angels was great, but, like,
yeah, they're great.
Third, whatever. Then we have Lady Luck's, obviously. Top Gun UFO. Someone commented, actually, let me see if I have the comment. But someone left a comment, okay, so I don't, who follows our account, and he was on UFO. Apparently, that's their first time winning Cheersport, I guess.
Okay.
So, shout out UFO. But, yeah, I read that, and I was like, that's one of those things where it's like, how is that even possible? But when you think about that division, it's like, again, it's another one of those divisions. But, and then Cheer Athletic Charlotte King Cats and Cheer Extreme DMV Super 7 for level 7. So, those are all the World's Teams winners this weekend.
Congratulations, everyone.
Period.
If you want a ring, let me know.
No, literally. One of the new things that they tried this year, I don't think they did it last year, was the commentary. They had like a separate stream for commentary.
I had no clue that was happening, and low-key, I love it. I only watched it a little bit, um, but I think that it's giving like old ESPN at Worlds,
Yeah.
at UCA. I love it. And I would say I like that they have people who know what they're talking about, but there were some slip-ups.
Yeah, so one of the major ones that I did have to double take and maybe go back 10 seconds when I heard it was one of the women that was doing it with Justin Carrier had said that Senior Elite does their little chant before they compete, and
DD4L.
yeah, she did say it was DD4L, which I thought was really, really funny. But
Yeah, I was
that's just peak journalism,
like,
you know?
like, okay, period. It's
DD4L,
okay.
I guess. But
Yeah.
I think Justin is the perfect person to do that. Hands down.
Absolutely.
I can't.
Like, duh.
I think they had like 4 people doing it.
Season Dory did it, who
Mm-hmm.
Announces Worlds. Love her.
Mm-hmm.
Love when she's at my awards session. Queen. But they did have a good mix of people.
Yeah. When Justin was talking was when I was like locked in, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I do also think that there's some sort of like comedic effect to it when they're doing commentating and a stunt falls or something. I just love hearing their different reactions because like someone will be like, oh, or like someone will pretend not to see it. Like that was one of my favorite things is what happens when someone falls because it's such a like immediate reaction.
That's so funny. Yeah.
Yeah, the way that some of them like, I don't know, I just think it's funny because obviously like things happen, stunts fall, and so I think having like a live, because I know when like my faves fall, I'm like screaming in my room, like I'm not having a good time, like
yeah.
So watching them try to be like totally like calm and composed is one of the funniest things ever.
That's hard. So kudos to them.
Yeah. We do have a couple. I did ask on Instagram what divisions you guys were most excited to see or which one you watched and what your thoughts were on it. So I do have 3 divisions here. Obviously, large all girl, large co-ed, no surprise. But the first one that we're starting off with, which I can't even tell you how excited I am to talk about it, is Cheer Extreme Bomb Squad, C4, hello, and 24K from Top Gun. So we did have the most amount of hot takes submitted through Instagram about these 2 teams and this division specifically. I'll just read you.
I would say that at least these 2 teams were the most watched of the weekend. I feel like, yes, large senior, large co-ed, but like these 2, both teams know how to put on a show 100%, and it was literally the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I was more locked in for this division than I think I've ever been for any Worlds division. Even like when I was physically at Worlds, I think I would have like I was unbelievably locked into the 2 of them. But so we did have like lots of differing opinions that were submitted.
Yeah.
So we'll just start with those and then we'll take our thoughts on a little trip. The first one, someone submitted and said C4 shouldn't have won, plain and simple. Okay. That's an opinion that you're allowed to have. That you are allowed to have.
We're all entitled, like, to our own opinions.
Yeah. And
next.
The next one that is completely opposite of the spectrum. Someone said C4 deserved to win. They were much more entertaining to watch and have more difficulty. So we're just going to do those 2 for right now. And we'll go into our kind of thoughts on who won, deserving, not deserving. So, Caitlin, if you want to take it away.
I feel as if both of us obviously have a bias going into it, cheering at Cheer Extreme. Lady Luck's practices with C4 almost every Tuesday, and so I am C4 ride or die, like at the end of the day. I do have a funny little story. So we had practice on Saturday night after we competed, and we got done at, I think, like 5:31 or 6:31 whenever they competed. and they competed at 6:36. Okay, so we got out at 6:31 and they competed at 6:36. If you know anything about Cheersport and how big that place is, I said, okay, so we have 5 minutes to run there.
Yeah.
Find a back entrance, running through warm-ups, like running. And there's this connector from warm-ups, and it's the coach's connector where there's like AccuScore. And I've been up there like as a coach, but I haven't obviously been there as an athlete. And so I'm like leading the pack running. And I go up the escalator, and I'm not proud of this, but oh well. I go up the escalator and I don't make eye contact with the woman. And I hear, ma'am, 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 ma'am. And I'm still just going up the escalator. She said, I'm not sure why you're still going when I'm saying ma'am. I said, my team competes in it was literally 1 minute. I was like, I gotta go. And she's like, okay. So then let's me go. And I am sprinting to B4 to see this team. And I get to watch C4 from the side, half of their routine, but like I am screaming at the top of my lungs, also can't breathe. But all that to say, love C4. I get to see how hard they work at practice, and from the second they walk into practice to the time they leave, they are all eyes in, all in 100% of the time, and they work harder than any other team that I've ever seen. So obviously I do have a bias of seeing that all the time, but they have such a hard routine, such a difficult stunt, pyramid, everything, and they work meticulously on their technique all the time. So I think 100% C4 over everything.
I have seen, obviously a lot of people were talking about them all weekend, and then when the results came out, I have seen a lot of people, trying to be like civil about it, and we're like, both teams are so amazing, which they are, 100%, so amazing,
100%,
1000% amazing athletes. But I did see people saying, like, if either one, I'm a stan of so and so, and if either one won, I would have been fine. And I, dare I say, disagree. I think that that C4 deserved that win. And if
100%.
it didn't play out that way, I wouldn't have agreed with the results. Honestly, if we're being frank, I'm not sure how the score was that close. And I know you guys are like, thank you. I know you guys are going to say to me, or you're listening and you're like, you're washed. What do you know? And you might be right. You probably are right. But I did watch these two teams in full. And I did go skill for skill. And I do want to highlight some things. And I'm not even using this to be like petty. I'm just using it because a lot of people, one of the things people said was like, they don't understand this. They don't get the scoring. A lot of people are saying C4 shouldn't have won. 24K should have won. Like, I'm here to try and help you guys understand a little bit where or how that win was achieved, given how close the scores were. So, like I said, I did go literally skill for skill. I was counting how many of each skill. I was so serious about this.
That is insane. I love it.
So I think it ended up being separated by like 0.05, like literally 5,000th of thousandths of a point. But I think the reason C4 won, and I can't speak to this because I don't have their score sheet, but if I were to take a guess as to how C4 outscored 24K, these notes are just from my perspective how that could have happened. So, Caitlin, feel free to tell me if you disagree. One of the main things
I'm blocked.
One of the main things I did want to highlight is there's the same amount of athletes. That's number one. Same amount of athletes on the team and same amount of stunt groups. And for most of the skills, same amount. Or max out the score sheet in quantity, right? Which is half the score. I think it boils down to the fact, and people are not going to like that I'm going to say this, but I think one of the levels I've been on the most in my career, and that's why I was so passionate about this division, is level 4. Whether it's level 4, 4.2, whatever. I've literally been on a level 4. I can't even tell you how long before I ended up making a world's team. Um, and it just comes down to the fact that 24K's routine is not as difficult as C4. And you guys are not going to like that. But the numbers literally don't lie. There's a lot of parts in C4's routine that I think are really well choreographed. And so much so that actually one of my final thoughts that I wrote down was actually God bless Brett Lane. Pretty
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, obviously, kudos to Darnell Harris and Casey
Duh. Yeah.
Cloutier. I still don't know how to say her last name. Love you, Casey.
Miss Twist. That's
literally Miss
Yeah.
Brown.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just perfect. Like,
Yeah.
it really is.
The way that C4's routine was choreographed is the way that Courtney choreographs a pyramid, which kind of sounds weird, but what I mean with that is that when Courtney choreographs her pyramids, she creates like freezes in moments in time. So like she'll have people waterfalling on the sides, and then at the same time someone's doing a high V in a show and go, and it's like it gets that like picture perfect shot of where everyone is doing the same thing. You know what I'm talking about.
And I will say, I feel like 24K also has a lot of, and I will give them their flowers, I think that they have a lot of good moments of stillness like that, especially in their stunts. I watched them from the side day too. So they do have those good moments of pause. So I do want to also give that to them as well.
I have a screenshot that I'm going to try to put up here so you guys can see what I'm talking about, but I'm just going to show Caitlin for the sake of showing her, where there's like little choreographed things that just add like a little extra to C4 for me. And so one of the things is I think they're doing punch front step outs, I'm pretty sure. It's either that or it's some sort of running tumbling. And when the two people doing the tumbling hit their cartwheel, like leg spread at the top, there's like a cartwheel flip, you know what I'm talking about, like those sideways cartwheels people do, that are happening like at the exact same time. So it looks like 4 people are doing the tumbling, and it adds depth to the routine. Like it looks like people are doing stuff in the back, so it's like everything is happening in an outward, it's creating that like opening right before they get into whatever they're about to do next. And there's another part of that early on in the routine, I think it's like the first 10 seconds, where they do like back layout lifts where the bracers flip them, and at the same time that those lifts are happening in the back, there's people doing layouts in the front of the mat. And so it's just like those types of things like unify the routine is where I feel like creativity wise I think C4 does it better. I'm not gonna lie though, like 24K's little like slow motion thing that they do before the stunt starts, I ate it up when UFO did it. I'm gonna eat it up again. Like,
yeah, no, I agree.
It is so cool. That's probably one of my favorite parts of their routine. But that was one of the main things that I wanted to talk about as like a creative. And obviously, like if we had a choreographer here, I feel like they could give a little more. They could maybe describe it a little bit better. But there's ways that you can unify the routine even when there's 1,000 people flipping and so many people going and doing different things. But again, that's like a visual thing, and it's like I said, subjective, right? The judge could either like that or they could hate it, you know? The main thing I think that killed them the most, to be honest with you, I think is their stunts, which everyone's gonna be like, what are you talking about? Like, you know, they hit their ticks like and absorb the catch. Like that's what I love watching an absorb catch, by the way.
Yes. That's what they catch and do not move.
It's one of the most satisfying things because with Worlds teams and level 6 teams, everything is at the top, so you can't like appreciate the absorb as much as you would want to.
Yeah.
Level 4, you can really appreciate the absorption and the holding and whatever. I think for me, 24K does a lot of the same thing, which is fine. You know, like that is a way to get through the score sheet. And the other part, and I don't know if I've made this clear, is like, I don't blame 24K, the athletes themselves for losing or for how their routine looked or if it's too easy, if that's true. Like, that is not the fault of them, right?
I mean, at the end of the day, both teams went out and hit two
Right.
absolutely stunning routines. So like
Yeah.
at that point, it's up to the judges. Like
Right. Your job as an athlete is to do what your coach asks of you, and what the routine is what it is, and that's a makeup of your coaching, choreography, and whatever. You're just simply putting that routine on a stage, and it's not simple, but you know what I mean. Like, you're making that vision come to life. You're doing what's asked of you. So in no way am I like, this is nothing on the kids on 24K. I do think that at the end of the day, there's something to be said for, C4, almost everything they did. The way that you can max out, and Caitlin could probably, you might have a little more knowledge with stuff like this because you've been a coach before and everything. But the main ways that you max out, you guys can go, I'll literally link the score sheets for you, or like the sheets you guys could see.
link down below.
I'll cite my sources. But it's one of those things that was ingrained in my head since I started cheerleading, is that one of the main ways that you have a skill be considered elite is if it's some sort of spinning. Usually that'll always get you somewhere in an elite. But the main thing is that everything is not to flip you off, everything is to a body position. That is like the main teller of if you can make a skill elite. That's how it is for senior elite and level 6 athletes. That's how it is for level 1. It's about body positions. Are you doing a low to high TikTok to a stretch, or are you doing it to a lib? And that's how you start.
And are you passing, like, even if you're pulling a heel stretch late, like if you're passing through a lib, like it doesn't, don't correct, like don't, I think I'm right.
Yeah.
But if you're passing through a lib still, you're not going to get that elite credit. Depending, I don't know.
Well, yeah, that's where you'd have to fight to get the credit on it, But that is like one of the easiest ways to move your skill from level appropriate. There's one in the middle, and then it's elite. So I just wanted to put that out there because C4 does spinning TikToks to scale, by the way. So they do a low to high 360 TikTok to scale, do a low to high lib to heel stretch. That's also considered an elite skill. Their pyramid, which it would take us forever if we actually went into it, but their pyramid, basically, the first time I watched it, I couldn't believe that those skills were not world skills. It literally looked like they took a level 6 pyramid and level 4ified it. That's like what it looks like. So
whenever they bring the girls around and the hoop, insane.
That is my favorite part of their routine, is the bring around, when they bring the flyer around.
Yeah.
Or the when they swing through the legs to the
like the monkey bars. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, didn't Lady Lux do that?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
I think like multiple times.
Yeah. So, like I said, like I didn't mention the hand in hand, I didn't mention the waterfall. I'm purely talking about the skills in the elite where like it's spinning or it's catching to a body position, because those are the things that help get you farther in difficulty on the score sheet. And I think for the longest time, for the last 2 years, the reason why C4 kept losing to 24K is because they had a performance aspect that C4 hasn't had, or that hasn't been forced out of them yet. Yeah. And obviously we'll get into that when we go to large co-ed, but I do feel like, when you're dominating your division for such a long time and someone steps up and beats you, I think that's when you start to witness greatness in the sport, because you're watching every day someone forcing the other person to step up and match them. It's not just about, like, obviously if you're an athlete on the team, it's about beating them, but on the grand scheme of things, you want to get better because you want to be better than the other team's version of better. And so it creates this effect of just teams progressing, and that's why the large co-ed division looks the way it does, and that's why the medium co-ed division has gotten to where it's gotten. Everyone was watching C4 in medium co-ed 10 years ago, right? But no one was watching anyone else. It was just, when does C4 go on? I only knew C4 like 5 years ago. I couldn't even name anyone else in that division. So I think forcing each other to be great is one of the things that I love about the sport, and I think that C4 and 24K.
Also, that's what makes it part of the sport, is having like good old-fashioned competition. Like
Mm-hmm.
everyone loves a competition. That's why we compete.
Yeah.
And so I think having that sort of back and forth, it just makes you a better athlete.
Yeah. And it puts out really great cheerleading, which is why
Yeah.
everyone, no matter what side you were on, thoroughly enjoyed their competition.
Yes.
And I think while we're having this conversation of like, maybe you can say 24K's execution was better and C4 beat out in difficulty. If I think this is the cleanest C4's ever looked this past weekend. But if that's the argument you want to have, I think that there is something to be said, not about this division specifically, but just about any division in cheerleading in current day. There is something to be said about clean teams beating difficult teams. And this was something that we struggled with when we were on Lady Luck's, was like, well, why is our score even that close to X team? Because they're just clean, but they don't do what we do. And so that's one of those things, and this, you're probably going to see this as a common theme in this episode, where it's the industry's fault. You know, like, you can't, if 24K beat C4, what are you going to do about it? They were clean and they won. It is, when things like that happen, when upsets in a division happen, you have to look at it as, well, why are they rewarding cleanliness the same as difficulty? Like, why are they matching those and saying, because then what's the point of cheerleading? What's the point of divisions? What's the point of levels? What's the point of creating a sport where you get progressively harder when you're showing them that you can still win by doing the bare minimum? And that's not an athlete issue. It's not a team issue. It's not an organization issue. It is the sports issue. It is why is USASF and IASF doing this? This is not their fault, you know? And I do want to have that kind of to help wrap up a little bit of the score sheet talk that we've had, is that I do want to say that nothing I'm saying is their fault, because why are you letting, you know, like, it's almost like if you're creating a ceiling, the floor should not be down here. You know, it just should be what it is. This could just be, now I'm just kind of like going on a rant of like personal opinion, but like,
No, I agree.
If you have a regular switch up, if you can get points in level 4 for doing a regular switch up to the top, no spin, and you can also get points for doing a spinning,
or in level 6 doing a straight up switch.
Right, like, if you're allowing someone to do a easier version of a skill and then allowing them to make up what they're lacking in difficulty by doing it really clean, what is that teaching the athlete? What is that teaching the sport? And what are you showing people growing up in cheerleading? That's kind of my question on that. So I did want to have that conclude kind of everything that we were talking about, because it's an industry problem, and it's something that I think they need to fix if they want to keep progressing the way that they have been. So there was a video that did go around this past weekend on TikTok, of all places, of C4, and C4 is performing their routine, whatever, and then at the very end, I'm inputting the clip here so you guys can watch, but at the very end, they were like, seemingly like, I don't know, jumping and yelling at the side of the stage, kind of being like, you know, what now, whatever. I want to talk about this because I do have screenshots of some comments that I think we can intertwine into this conversation. But first, given that I have someone here who was actually at Cheersport this weekend, I want to see if Caitlin has some input, because the caption of the video, and if you guys are on Cheer Twitter, you know that half the time TikTok is just lying for the sake of lying. But the caption of the TikTok basically said that 24K was on the side of the stage and C4 was showing bad sportsmanship because they were seemingly taunting them before they performed, whatever. So I'm going to give the floor to Caitlin because I want to hear if she has any input on the situation. Have been there that weekend.
I don't want to speak on a lot, but one, I'm almost positive that 24K was not to the side of the stage. And if you actually let me go find a video real quick just so I can cite my sources.
While you look for that, I do want to add that Someone did say that it wasn't 24K. They were like in warm-up still. So
Yeah, 24K was still in warm-ups.
someone said it
I'm
could have been
trying-
Revelation. It could have been Revelation, but again, that's also speculation. No one knows exactly who was over there. But those were some of the rumors, I guess, that people were starting on TikTok.
Okay. So if you look at the end of a video, both sides of the floor do it to their sides of the floor. And whenever you're at Cheersport, you only walk on one side. So hypothetically, if 24K was standing somewhere, they would be on the side where they're obviously walking on. And C4 did it to both sides. Like, there's no reason for them to do it if 24K is not over here. Like,
Yeah.
they were just doing it to do it. Have you guys ever been hyped after a routine? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, also, I want to say, and this may be a hot take, but sportsmanship doesn't have to exist. Like,
I'm
it really,
so
really does not.
yes.
Like, take NFL, for example, since the Super Bowl just happened. Why would the Eagles be happy if the Chiefs won?
Yep.
The Chiefs aren't happy that the Eagles won.
Yeah.
You don't like the Birds, but go Birds, baby. I know you don't, right?
I did for the Super Bowl. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, you don't like, wait, do you like Patrick Mahomes? Or you can't, you don't like him
Hell
at all?
no. I don't like Patrick Mahomes.
Okay,
I
that's
don't
what,
like,
okay, that's
yeah,
what I thought.
No, yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I'm on the right
but
side
go
of
Birds,
history.
by the way.
Yeah.
Perfect. But like, why should people be happy when people beat them?
Mhm.
Like, no, like it's just not at the end of the day, like
yeah.
people aren't gonna like
Yeah.
just because I go against them, like I can be cordial and be hi, whatever. I don't have to like you.
Yeah.
I'm going against you. My goal is to beat you
Mhm.
at the end of the day. Like sportsmanship, sure. You can be nice, again, you can be cordial, but like I'm here to do my job and the job's to beat you.
Yeah. I really, really hate to be the bearer of bad news to you guys. But from my experience, 99% of the sportsmanship that you see in cheerleading is fake. It's fake.
Is fake.
It is
like
fake.
Back to like why in the nicest way, why would I want to be happy that someone's beating me?
Right. But not even
Like
not even that, like just if you guys see a picture of, and I'm not saying this is applicable to everyone. I'm sure that there are people that are genuinely friends with their competitors. But if you see a picture of two competitors taking a picture together, odds are they're going to walk away from taking that picture and talk some shit. That is just how it goes.
yeah, like that's with any sport. I didn't watch it, but USA versus Canada last night.
Yeah, right.
How many physical fights were there?
Yeah.
Like it's just, and I'm not saying all sportsmanship is fake because I will absolutely wish my competitor good luck.
Right.
Because the name of the game is if you both hit, who's gonna win?
Right. You shouldn't. Yeah.
So
right.
Yeah, let's hit. Let's hit for hit. Like let's
Mhm.
see who's gonna hit.
If you believe in your team and the skills that you're putting on the floor, you should want everyone in your division to hit. And if that's a hot take,
Yes.
I don't know what to tell you. The only person that like genuinely has ever showed me kindness in the non-tumble division is Faye from Sparkle. Now I think she's on Toxic and she's killing it.
Yeah.
But she
Love
is
her,
the
Faye.
only person that has ever been nice to me. There was a competition that we went to, and I'm not going to put their names in here, but I remember coming out of watching the replay, and they came up to me and some of our teammates, and were laughing in our faces, and were joking about, "Oh, did y'all hit? I didn't see," or like some stuff like that. I'm not going to name you because you know who you are, but all of that is to say that they don't care if it's your first year on the team. They don't care if it's your last year on the team. They don't care how many times you've won anything. If you have the name on your chest and you're a division rival, they're not going to be nice to you because I don't even know. But sportsmanship is fake. I'll just put it that way for y'all.
And like, I'm not saying kindness doesn't go a long way because it absolutely does. I am not walking up to my competitor and just like staring them down or anything. It is my job to do my routine.
Yeah.
So again, a good luck, you got
Right.
it.
Yeah.
But like,
That part is 100% genuine. Like, if I'm wishing someone good luck in warm-ups, 100%, I don't care if we're rivals or not, because I know if I hit my stuff, you're not beating me. And that's not on a cocky level, that's not on a competitive level, it just is what it is. I trust my training, I trust my coaches, I trust my team. I know if we go out and hit, I'm beating you. And it's not personal, because sports is not personal. It's not personal. It's not end all be all. And obviously, like we've said, we like shady mixes. I think that this weekend was like a telltale sign to me of like, you can't take it, don't dish it. You know what I mean? Like, I think if you're putting the other team's motions in your routine, if your entire mix is a diss against them, first of all, 24K kind of like get off the floor maybe. Like, it's giving a little bit desperate in my opinion. I think there's something to be said for a shady line. There's something to be said for an entire diss track. I don't love your entire mix, and this goes into the sportsmanship we were talking about, where it's like, I don't think about my competitors at all, because I know that if I hit, that's all I'll need to win. I think that having a mix entirely dedicated to hating on one team in your division, knowing that there's others, by the way, I do think that's a little bit weird. It's kind of giving obsessed. It's a little bit odd, and I think allowing, and again, this is not a diss to the athletes, it's a diss to whoever choreographed it. I think allowing, like we said, the little like C4, allowing that in the routine, or even like they do like the C in their before they start their elite, allowing those things to be choreographed in is corny and it's weird. That's how I feel about that. I think having one or two lines in there that's kind of like, oh, got him kind of thing, love that. It's keeping it cute, but it's also like, hey, we're rivals,
yeah,
you know?
like, and like, I'll be honest. I mean, I wasn't on the team at the beginning of the season, but like,
Yeah.
in our previous mix, like we had scratch that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. I will say both teams are very talented. Like you genuinely cannot beat that. But I do agree with, if you can't dish it out, or if you can't take it, don't dish it.
Yeah.
I just find it funny.
That's how I
Like,
felt. Yeah, that's how I felt this weekend. It was kind of like, okay, well, like C4's been losing for the past 2 years to a team that is like diss tracking them basically, and it's like, you've never seen the type of outrage that is happening right now, and it's
yeah.
like, if you can't take it, don't give it out, you know?
But I love a good little rivalry. Like, who doesn't?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like
Well,
again,
yeah, I
Cowboys and Eagles, Carolina and Duke. Like, who doesn't love watching this?
yeah, everyone loves
You
a
know?
rival story. Yeah. Yeah. I just think like, don't. It's
And I
just
feel like the sport doesn't really have that right now,
I
besides
agree.
this.
Yeah, I agree. It's just
Mm.
like not. I don't know. I just don't think it's that serious. So with large senior and large co-ed, I think this is like, I don't know if this is the correct way to kind of view those divisions, but to me, I think cleanliness is so hard to achieve with that many people on the floor. I think for
Yes.
me, what I define as like a solid looking routine is the ability, especially with large co-ed and large senior, which I think senior elite and TGLC do very well, is the ability to make it look like there's not 32 people on the floor.
Yes.
You know? Obviously, we could sit here and go skill for skill with those divisions, and it would just be a lot of the same thing because they do a lot of the same things. But I think it comes down to the fact that for me, TGLC and senior elite I don't even know how they do it, especially in the small Kernersville gym, but they
Yeah.
have this vision, and it works out for them so perfectly because it never looks cluttered on the floor.
Yes.
And I think that's something. Casey Cheer Fearless also competed in large senior this weekend, so congratulations to them on their performances. I think that, dare I say, they do that just as well as senior elite. I think they've kind of, in that way, I think that they've cornered the market in how to put a routine together with that many people and not make it look a mess. And I think, like, for example, shooting stars are a mess. And I'm not meaning that, like, skill wise, I'm just saying, like, visually watching it, especially, like, they had some issues with, like, timing of things. Like, I think in their elite, like, when one person's off in a skill, it just takes everyone out of it. So I
Yeah.
will just put, that's whatever. Like, who's to say they don't hit that perfect every time? But I think that that's something that I do think separates. I will even throw Panthers in there, to be honest with you. I think that it's just so obvious. Like, when someone's running cross mat, it's so obvious.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I don't even know, like, if that makes sense, but I just feel like with those teams,
No,
it's
I
so
get it. Like, it almost seems as like one stunt group is doing the routine almost, and it's
yeah.
just so uniform in every single way. And I think that that goes into how they do their stunts, and obviously routine composition, depending on like how your stunts are laid out.
Mhm.
I think that seniors always does a really good job of having a uniform stunt sequence.
Mhm.
Um, and one person's not out here doing the most, or like mirrors aren't out here doing the most. Like for the most part, it is all nine stunt groups
Doing the same
doing
thing.
the exact same skill at the exact same time,
Mhm. I don't
besides like a ripple.
Yeah,
You know?
with the exception of, like, ripples like that, I don't, and I also, like, I forgot to mention that, but I do think that's another thing that makes C4 and 24K stand out, is, like, the way that C4 and, in this case, Senior League, are able to, they understand that they utilize all 9 panels, which I feel like is such a common comment that large teams get on score sheets. Like, I feel like, I mean, we never got it because we did use all 9 panels when we were on Lady Luck's, but, like, utilizing how much of the floor you have, especially
Yeah.
when there's so many people, I feel like sometimes they think, okay, well, we'll just stack stunts behind each other, and, like, that way we'll have the quantity, but you won't see if the one in the back is a little off. And it's just, I
Yeah.
hate that. Like, you could tell. I could see. Like, so with those two divisions, I obviously deserved, but I think if anyone won in those divisions, they'd be deserved as well. I think at this
Yeah.
point, it's just, like, little things.
And I love, from an outside perspective, getting to see the entire divisions
Mm-hmm.
competing, like before NCA. I know that most of the time they're doing it at majors, um, with the exception of TGLC and Fearless, but like
Mm-hmm.
getting to see the entire division before NCA and Worlds, um, I mean, it's a good competition and it's a good learning lesson.
Yeah.
So I think that that was a good takeaway from the weekend.
Yeah. I think it just boils down to the fact that you have to hit, and it's
Yeah.
the tiny little things. It's the pointing your toes in a double. It's holding the catches in the cradles. It's keeping your grips on in pyramid. Like, it is all those little things that it has to come down to, because it's not exactly a 24K C4 situation where there are ways both teams can improve. It's, you're there. Like, everyone, and I even Fearless is there. It is just, like, fixing those little tiny things that are, it's just how you implement those corrections that are gonna, I don't know, make the difference.
I truly, with how hectic Cheersport was this week, I didn't get to watch a lot of teams. I did like watch on varsity a few, but Revelation made me watch where I could not peel my eye off. And it was just one of those routines that you watch and they're like, how do they practice?
Mm-hmm.
Genuinely, how do they practice to where there's not one count in the routine where they are off,
Mm-hmm.
truly.
I think out of everyone in cheerleading, every level, every division, especially the world's divisions, they have perfected the high performance, like the new age version of performing with difficulty. I don't know how they do it.
Yes.
I don't know how, like, they just, on every caliber, they are at the top. Like, I don't, like, they have, like, I don't want to, like, compare apples to oranges, but, like, with, for example, Midnight, they were popular a lot because of, like, their energy and performance and whatever. And I feel like Revelation has found a way to make it quick make it hard, make it clean, and like perform like it's the easiest thing they've ever done.
I think Revs has gotten to like the point where they're like, again, comparing
Mm-hmm.
to like BSB style robot cheerleading.
Yes, but like with a little little pizzazz on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he like watching BSB throughout the past years, you're like
Mhm.
they're literally not moving.
Yeah.
Like, and you watch them right now and like insane.
Yeah.
But kudos to Revelation, 100%. Um, I can't even lie. Every time I listen to their new pyramid music, I have chills.
Yes, I actually did. I did write that down too. Yeah. I think
Uh,
also there is something to be said about, I know people like get on Senior Elite a lot about like their like sappy pyramid music, but there is something to be said like with sad music like that because it forces you to like put your all into it like you've never,
no, I was literally
you
listening
know.
to it and I was like, if I had to compete this at World's Day 2, knowing that like this is the final, which is insane,
Yeah.
the final Revelation performance, oh my gosh, I'd be in tears. I would literally be in tears.
Yeah. And I think that also adds like we were talking about before about score sheet like to the performance perspective because like when you're listening to a song that's like that and you're like putting your all into it, you're putting your all into it way more than if it was like a sassy little like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So, yeah,
A good pyramid music should make you cry. I know,
right. Yeah.
as I do.
Yeah, but shout out to
But
Revelation. I think 2025 Grand World Champions maybe. Um
yeah, like genuinely great cheerleading.
they get this week's Cheer Chats podcast stamp of approval. Top Gun Revelation.
Stamp of approval.
Yeah. Thank you guys for watching this episode. I think we've pretty much, talked your ear off with all of the
Yeah.
score sheet, 24K drama, large senior, large co-ed. I'm pretty sure I got it all in there. Revelation. Talk about from Cheersport this past weekend. We do want to say good luck to everyone competing at NCA next weekend. Shout out to Caitlin. Shout out Lady Lux.
Come watch Lady Lux at 4 something in the arena.
Period. Oh, you're like later in the day. That's good.
Yeah, we're the last Cheer Extreme team to go. I'll give you the
Awesome.
correct time. Sorry, I could have been more prompt. Come watch Lady Lux at 4:47 in the arena. That would be 5:47 Eastern Standard Time.
Period. Good luck, Lady Lux. Good luck, Caitlin. Good luck to all the teams competing at NCA next weekend. We'll probably end up doing an NCA recap video as well, or podcast episode. So make sure you look out for that. But thank you guys for listening. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at CheerChatsPod and then on Spotify and YouTube, CheerChats Podcast.
My Instagram is _KAITLYNRENEA. And TikTok, Caitlin with 2 N's, Cruz.
Period. You can find me on Instagram. My first last name, Gianna, LOBMAN is my last name. But yeah, that's going to be it for this episode. So we will see you guys for the NCA recap
Bye, guys.
video. Bye.